Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and today I'm coming to you from beautiful Miami. We're doing a whole series. We're bringing in guests, and we've been working with GifterX Talk, so we're going to have a lot of fun here. And I guess just to get us kicked off here, Hermann, man, we're finally meeting in person. It's been a long time coming. Man, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
All right. So I've been following your work in fitness. I've been following the carnivore movement that you've been working with. I've been following your health tips. I mean, everything from these chomps, beef sticks. I learned the difference between grass-fed and grass-finished. I've been following even the pork rinds, man. I swear, you've sold more products for these companies than they have any idea with. So we're going to get into this. I want to get into what you're doing in fitness, but I guess just to get us kicked off here, tell me a little bit more about your background and kind of what led you on that path to getting into fitness and health and wellness.
Yeah, I was a chiropractor for 22 years. So that was the first thing I did was practice chiropractic. And the great thing is that now I'm doing online training. I do some personal training, but building my online business and training. And the really interesting thing is that a lot of the philosophy of chiropractic blends into the training because in chiropractic philosophy, we always spoke about the innate intelligence of the body, which is basically the body's innate ability to heal itself. And in training, once you have your goals and what you want to do, whether that's gain more muscle, lose more weight, whatever it is, you have to make sure that you're doing things so that your body adapts properly. And that's a big missing step with a lot of people. And I think especially since we're here on Mission Matters, there's a lot of business people on here, right? Entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So a lot of entrepreneurs, what happens? You don't have time. A big issue is I don't have time to go to the gym. I'm traveling. And so that's where I really help a lot of my online clients in that I get you into bands. How can you use a few bands to really get a fantastic workout? And actually, not only should you use bands, in my opinion, they're better than weights.
Yeah.
Because, if you do let's look at something like a simple chest press. When you do a chest press, you're pushing out here. The weak point is right at the beginning. If you're going to get hurt, you're much more likely to get hurt right at the beginning when you start lifting the heavy weight. And when you get to a point where you're really lifting your max, you're not really lifting your maximum.
Yeah.
You're lifting what you can lift out of the weak zone, which is right at the beginning. The beauty of variable resistance when we use a band is that if you're using a band right here, it's not that heavy. Only as you push out does the resistance now increase. And it's increasing at a safer area where you're less likely to get hurt. So another thing I do is I specialize in helping men over 40 to continue to work out, to get into shape, but in a safe manner. And as you get older, we all know nobody escapes old father age. No one escapes that. So it's critical to work out in a safer way, doing more calisthenics, using your own body weight, and using bands.
Yeah.
It's really important.
And you told this story about getting your six pack. Like I watched you give a presentation recently, yesterday or the day before, and you were talking about like diet and dieting and how you eat and how you approach it. Maybe go into that a little bit.
Sure. Like as we get older, like everyone says, 80% is what you eat. Well, that's true as you get older. When you're in your 20s, if you're working out a lot, you could eat a lot of junk food.
Yeah.
And you're fine.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in your 20s. You have more natural testosterone, growth hormone, a lot of things going in your favor where you can just eat not healthy or eat a typical Hispanic dish.
That ain't happening anymore. Not for me. Not for my Puerto Rican background.
I grew up Cuban. My parents are both Cuban. Rice and beans, and the way my grandmother used to pile on the food. I mean, when I was in my 30s and 40s, I had a gut. But as I got older, I realized, and here was the other thing. Here I am, a trainer of 3 years, and this was last year, and I'm thinking, I don't have a six pack, even though I was 54 at the time. I'm 55 now. I was just upset that here I was training people and I don't have a six pack. It frustrated me. And I was doing abs like 5 days a week. I was doing some cardio. It was frustrating. And it wasn't until I looked into going carnivore and I actually, put my money where my mouth had. Actually hired an online trainer, a guy 30 years younger than me, but he knew really well how to navigate going, because it's a process. Because when you go carnivore, you're basically switching your fuel system from carbs and sugar to completely meat and fat, really fat. You're using fat as a fuel source.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like taking a car that has been unleaded and now you're going to change it to diesel fuel or vice versa. So you're changing what your body is using for fuel. And this is a big deal because fat has 9 calories per gram of energy in it. Carbohydrates and protein only has 4. So when you run on fat, when you're burning your own fat, you actually have more energy. But that's why it's important that you don't really want to avoid the fat when you eat. You want to consume the fat as long as it tastes good. You want to keep eating the fat in your diet so that your body runs on fat. Yeah. That's critical. And then after about 6 weeks with a little bit of fasting, I got my 6-pack and I've been able to keep it. And I now incorporate a few other things. I eat some fruit. So I'm not technically 100% carnivore, but I eat a little bit of fruit. I'll eat even ice cream or dark chocolate before and after I work out. There's a reason behind that. But thinking of your market, busy entrepreneurial people, this was one of the biggest shockers for me when I got into the fitness world. It's kind of like the shock in chiropractic, but now that I see it in the fitness world, if you do something like yoga, Pilates, Tai Chi, chances are you're going to need a chiropractor a lot less. I mean, that's just reality. In personal training, the big shocker for me was that this idea that you need to do like 4 sets or 3 sets, it's not needed. If you do 1 set to complete failure when you're working out, that's all you need to do. So the beauty is that for someone who's really busy, and let's say you have a band and, I teach how you can use a band, you put it underneath your feet and you do like a biceps curl using the bands. If you get to that point where let's say you bring it up to your chest, up to here, and you keep going, and you don't rest at all, so that when you go down, you don't rest, you keep the tension, you get to that point of failure, and then you get to what's called partial reps, where you are straining and you're just barely moving it. What's happening there? First of all, you're getting a cardiovascular respiratory workout, number one. Because that's the other shocking thing. I do no cardio now, at all. Yeah. No cardio. But when I do my resistance training, I push it to that point where I'm like, you get a cardio workout. Because when you push a muscle to failure, your body is screaming for oxygen. So at this point, what's happening? We don't need to do cardio. We're getting the cardio workout with our resistance training. And we only need to do 1 set to complete failure. Once you get to that point where you're barely moving the band, you're done. That takes about 2 minutes, if that long, 1.5 minutes, and you're done. That's 1 set to failure. Then you might do another one, another set coming in this way. And the point is that you do 4 to 6 exercises. You divide the body up into push and pull. 4 to 6 exercises, go to failure, do 1 set, you're going to grow muscle, you're doing cardio at the same time, you're done in between 20 minutes and half an hour, and you're done. Yeah. And it's ideal for the traveling executive, business person. Put the bands in your gym bag, you travel with it, you can do it, the workouts are way shorter. So this is the big key, is that you don't need to do multiple sets. You can do 1 set to failure. Diet plays a huge role as you get older. Yeah. And this is where, for the busy executive, busy business person, entrepreneurial, this is valuable information. Oh, yeah. Very valuable. Because now you're able to get a great workout in a quick amount of time. You're learning how to eat right. mainly going carnivore, and understand that that is a process. We're going from unleaded gasoline to diesel fuel. We're switching how your body uses the fuel. And when you look at things like one of the things I spoke about at the meetup that you went to on Wednesday is, it's the expensive tissue hypothesis, the idea that, we want to look at how we should eat in evolutionary terms. And the reality is that the human being became a human being when he started eating cooked meat. It's what allowed our brains to literally grow and our stomach shrink. And this is huge because now you're eating cooked meat. It's ideal for your brain, which is why a lot of people who go carnivore, never mind that you lose the weight, never mind that you get a six-pack. And by the way, I'm 55, but it's all natural. I do not take testosterone or I do take some amino acids and some creatine that are just supplements, but I don't take any testosterone natural. I don't do any of that. Right. So, and that also stems from my chiropractic philosophy. I like to do everything natural. It's just, it's in me. But the point is that when you eat a lot of fatty meat, the fat has cholesterol, and cholesterol is good. And there's also another big medical myth that cholesterol is bad. And there's a whole other thing on that really high cholesterol isn't as bad as people think. But that's a whole other issue. But yeah, it's, but there's a lot of other medical doctors now saying that, this whole thing, it's a big cholesterol myth and it doesn't affect people like they think. It's a fear that's been misplaced. The blame has been thrown on the fat when really it's the sugar, the carbohydrates, the wheat that really raises cholesterol and causes a lot of health problems now. And going back to the expensive tissue hypothesis, we evolved, the human mind and brain grew because we ate cooked meat. By cooking the meat, it makes it more bioavailable. It's like an egg. A lot of people don't know this. If you break the yolk of an egg and you eat it raw, right? Which I used to think that was the thing to do because
you were watching Rocky. Come on, man. You're watching Rocky.
Yeah, Rocky. Yeah, I would see Rocky, the first movie. He's eating the raw egg. I go like, that seems like the thing to do. No, when you eat a raw egg, you're only getting like 3 grams of protein. When you cook it, you get 6 grams of protein. So the cooked egg is better than the raw egg. And obviously it's the same with meat too. Yeah.
Herman, man, I want you to talk a little bit and spend some of the time that we have left here today talking a little bit about the platform, how people can follow you. And also, I know you're doing some live Instagrams and other things so that the hypothesis that you mentioned, the nutrition, you have a newsletter. How do people follow you? Talk to people about your platform and what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, probably the way where everything is centered. My Instagram, it's just my name. My name's a little weird, though. It's Hermann with 2 N's at the end. And then my last name, Diehl, is Diehl. Okay, so Hermann Diehl, you can find me on Instagram there. And in there, I have a link tree where you can receive my free weekly newsletter. In the newsletter now, I'm doing two programs. One is a newsletter written format, about 1,000 words. I try to keep it less than 1,000. And in the newsletter, I actually create a character. I call him Mr. Skeptical. It's like that other side of our brain. And I kind of argue with Mr. Skeptical. And it just makes it entertaining.
Yeah.
It makes it fun to read. You're like reading a story, a conversation. So it's fun to read. And in there, a lot of it has to do with health, wellness. Like I talk about how omnivores survive, which is true. We humans have traditionally eaten vegetables and things to survive, but usually when the meat's not around. Carnivores, though, thrive. You can survive eating vegetables, but if you really want to thrive, you want to be more carnivore. And so I have a lot of those subjects in there. And then I recently started with a Monday tip. Fitness tips. So I do also, the newsletter has a video format that comes out every Monday at 11:57 a.m. And the video is just like a 1 or 2 minute video of me giving a fitness tip. So that comes out weekly. On my Instagram, you can subscribe to that, and or you can set up a call. And this call is just a free call where we can talk anywhere between 10 minutes to 45 minutes, or any questions a person has about health, fitness. For most men, it's kind of predictable. They just want to get rid of the gut. Most men, I mean, I so relate to this. It's just so common. How do I, but
why you look at me when you say get rid of the gut, man? I saw that. I saw you looking at my gut. No, come on, man. I saw that. Such disrespect.
But it's just so common. It's so common. I mean, it's every man out there over the age of 40. It's like, it's always the same thing. Yeah, but I just want to I want to get some muscle, but I just want to get rid of it. It's all, and that, I hate to say, it's diet. I mean, that's the main thing, but I guide people with that. And then I have a program, an online program, which is a community of other men who are 40 plus, and we help one another out, because to reach your goal, it's going to involve a little bit of fasting, a little bit of intermittent fasting, and that too is a whole other thing, because it's not necessarily that you do the fasting, it's how you do it. Think about this. Sumo wrestlers, they do intermittent fasting.
Didn't know that.
Sumo wrestlers.
Didn't know that.
They eat twice a day. And they're working out all the time. They're doing one of two things. They are working out intensely, or they're sleeping. And they only eat 2 meals a day. So it's not that, fasting. Fasting is great if you do it the right way. So it's not just what you do, it's how you do it. And again, what I spoke about before, and this is another very important thing, because what I spoke before about the chiropractic philosophy, the innate intelligence, your body adapts very quickly. So you could be eating 1 meal a day and you could start gaining weight. And then there comes a point where now, your body has reset to 1 meal. Now you got to eat 4 meals a day. And that's where the guidance comes in, and that's where helping someone. That's why sticking to one way of eating forever doesn't work if you're trying to lose weight. You say, once you get to your ideal weight, like where I'm at, I can continue the same pattern because I like how my body is. But if you're trying to make a change, it's very important to understand that the body adapts extremely quickly, and you have to be on it and be ready to adjust, add more meals, add less meals, and do some intermittent fasting, to really make some changes. That's critical.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Herman, so good having you on the show today, man, and finally meeting in person. For everybody at home, we're going to put Herman's Instagram and the link to that in the show notes, so you can just click on the link and head on over, check out his link tree, book a call with him, check out his platform, check out some of the lives. I know I watch his lives on Instagram. They're awesome. He puts together these amazing presentations, so definitely go check out Herman on Instagram. Speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button, because this is a daily show, meaning each and every day we're bringing you new content, new ideas, new thought leaders, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way in your journey as well. That's what this is all about, helping each other out in our journeys. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Herman, man, really appreciate you coming on, man. I'm glad we finally got to do this.
Definitely. Thank you.